Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Let's start.
First,
So, thank you for your time. So, I'd like to start with some memories from the scanners, the final psychic battle of you. When you read it on the script, what do you think? And then the
look at fuck off. That's like 6 questions all
Okay.
at once. You want to know about the final?
about the final battle.
The
Yeah.
final between me and my brother. Originally, there's 2 endings. We finished the first film. The first ending we shot with all pyrotechnics, and the stuntman got in, and that was done, I think, December 22nd. And then the ending you see was shot, I think, in May, the following spring. What I think David did was he cut the film together. He wasn't really happy with the ending. I don't want to speak for David, but the way I understand it, he sent the film off to Dick Smith, who's a special effects makeup artist, or was. God bless you, Dick, wherever you are. You're obviously up there. And he said, could you give me something or something? It's different. And Dick Smith had been working on Altered States, the film Altered States, which kept starting and stopping. They were having director's problems and things. And he was free. So he says, I think I've got something that might work. And they were the bladders, those things that come up on the face and everything like that. Actually, it's on this side. And that was the first time they were ever used. So I flew down to New York. I met Dick Smith. He did a cast, and we fitted all these new bladder makeup effects on. And when we do the battle,
With
all
the
that
eyes.
stuff, yeah. Well, those are scleras. They put those in. There's a guy actually at my feet with a pump, pumping, and it goes up and into the bladders, these makeup things, and then they swell and all the blood comes out and stuff. It was the first time they'd ever used bladders. Now they're quite common. But Dick Smith, genius, Dick Smith, the makeup artist. His son is doing it now. That was the first time we were ever used. So we shot that sequence. When you see him hit me with that brown statue in scanners, that's December 22nd, I believe. When I get up off the floor and go, brother should be close, don't you think? That's, I think, May 18th or something, second week of May. And that's the genius of David Cronenberg, that he could, take things and cut them and put them together. As I remember it, scanners, I was only hired for 1 day. I was hired to do originally the contract was for me to do that one scene, which is the black and white flashback of me throwing the glass and the bandage and all that. Somewhere between getting hired and actually doing the film, David decided to increase that character, make him bigger. The funny thing was, I was hired on a 1-day contract, and in those days it was $135 a day. So for the whole film, I made $5,375. That was less than Jennifer O'Neill's per diem. We were out to dinner just before Christmas with Jennifer and her husband and stuff, and I was out to dinner with them. And Jennifer said to me, she says, what are you buying the crew for Christmas? And I went, fuck, I'm trying to steal my wardrobe. I was like, and she went, really? And her husband said, how much are you making? And I went, 53 and change. He went, American or Canadian? I went, Canadian. And he went, for a week? And I went, no, for the whole film. And I saw Jennifer go. And I saw him go. So I'm sitting there, and it's like, I'm a working class guy for the East End of Toronto. I went, how much are you making? And she said, 50,000. And I said, US or Canadian? She went, US? And I went, a week? And she went, and right away like that, she goes, I'm so sorry. I feel so embarrassed. What can I do? I said, you can pay for fucking dinner. Let's get another bottle of wine. But no, she was wonderful to work with. And I don't look back. I was absolutely grateful to get that job, grateful to get the money, grateful to be in it. I've never been one to measure things by money. If you measure things by money, that can bite you in the ass. Aesthetically and creatively, for me now, I make choices on what challenges me. What do I got to reach for? you know, as an actor and stuff. And I'll be forever grateful to David. That was my 19th film. I'd done 19 films, parts all over the place, and that one character of Daryl Revick. Thank God for David Cronenberg. It gave me a chance for people outside Canada to go, oh, he's interesting. I wonder what we could do with him. It's a long answer.
Okay.
Thank
Over
you.
to you.
So, let's speak about Total Recall.
Total Recall.
And your scene, the scene when your character dies with the arm cuts, and can you remember?
I remember all of
It
that.
was amazing scene. So.
Arnold's amazing to work with. He really is. That scene's kind of, the fight was done, look, you got to remember, the fight was done over 3 months. The whole film took 6.5 months. The fight starts in one place, and then we do special effects in another set. The elevator scene where the arms come off, that was on a second set, and it was Vic Armstrong. He was the second director, but he was also the stunt director, and he was directing that scene. And what it was the rig for that was it was up about 2.5 stories in the air, and what happens is I had 2 false arms that are on the floor of the elevator with a jacket, and I'm not even attached to it. And I have to get into it with my arms behind my back, and they do the jacket back up. And then we start on this, and it goes up on a hydraulic, and the wall goes up in front of me here, and the arms come off. So it looks like they came off, right? And there's explosions. They're called squibs. And there was 6, I think, in each arm to blow them just as it gets to that thin wall. Arnold's on the other side. So I go up behind the wall, and the arms, boom, they come off. The interesting thing about that was, we did, the first take we did, I went up, and I stumbled on the ladder. And, because my knee was very bad. It was before I got my knees replaced with metal. And Vic Armstrong saw it, and he said, what was that on the ladder? You had a strange look in your face. And I said to him, because when I started off acting, I did roofing, shingles, hot tar, making chimneys and stuff. And I said to Vic, I said, to get into this rig, you had to go up almost a 60-foot ladder to go up. And I said to Vic, I can't roof anymore. He said, what? What are you talking about, Michael? And I said, I can't roof. And he goes, right. He says, let's just get on to the next take. We'll have dinner tonight. And I said, okay. So we did it. And at dinner that night, I walked in, and he handed me my resume at dinner. He said, look at this. And I was like, I said, oh, it's my resume, yeah. And I had done about 105 or 106 films by then. And he said, this fellow is not a roofer. He doesn't have to worry about being a roofer. And it was the first time I think I realized that I had arrived. It was like, inside I still had the belief that someday they're going to find out who I really am and send me home. You know, so I shouldn't be there. But the fight scene was interesting. What happened was about 2 months before that, no, but a month before that, there's a scene with, we're shooting in here, get the fuck out. Close the door. It works better if you just...
Straight.
Straight.
So you did it.
I apologize. But there's a scene in the film where he and the other actors are swinging from rafters. I come running up with my gun, and my partner, Michael Champion, says, no, don't, and he turns and stops me. Well, when we shot that scene, when he turned, he hit me right here with the barrel of his gun. So we only got one take of me going up, and I go, and then I turn, and they cut. Well, that's the only shot we got, because when he said, don't, he hit me right here with the barrel, and it broke my sternum. It cracked my sternum and popped 2 ribs out. And they had to send me back to Los Angeles. And Paul said, it's okay. We got other things, go back, and we need to retool, take a couple of weeks. So I went back, and they did a little operation thing and put it all together again, and I came back about 3 weeks later. And the first scene back after that was the elevator fight scene with Arnold. And if you notice, there's only one place. Do you know American football?
Yeah.
There used to be a quarterback for the Los Angeles Raiders called Jim Plunkett. And there was a special vest made for him because he had broken ribs. And the orthopedic surgeon who had worked on me, he called up Jim Plunkett and said, "Can I get that vest off you?" And they gave it to me so that when I went back, I put that vest on under my shirt. And when I do that fight scene with Arnold, that's what I'm wearing. And Arnold's such a pro. The only time he slightly tapped me, there's one shot where he wraps me under his arm and turns and punches, and he just tapped it, just a little bit. But he never hit me once during the whole thing. That's all acting. But that was the first scene back after having my ribs in the surgery and stuff. But that's a great scene.
Yeah, I mean...
It's a great scene. It's a wonderful way. The great thing about villains is the hero gets beat up all the way through a film. Right from the beginning to the end. He's just like beat him, and the villain only gets beat up once at the end.
But hardly.
Yeah,
very
badly, yes. But and that was a good ending, a good death for him.
Amazing. Well,
It's kind of iconic.
yeah.
And
It remains in your mind
do
forever.
you want to know a story about Arnold?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. He's a very, very special man.
I love him.
We were there, we shot that in Mexico City, 6.5 months. And I'm from Canada. My sister Wendy, I'm the oldest of 5. She had cancer, was in the hospital in Toronto. So, and back then we didn't have cell phones. There was no cell phones and stuff. So at lunch, I'd run off and go up to the office and call my sister every day to see how she's doing, just to stay in touch. And she's alive, she's okay. But Arnold noticed, and he said, Mikey, where do you go? You never stay for lunch. I said, well, my sister's sick. I went to call her. He says, we're telling a story. Thank you. So he says, I apologize. He says, where do you go? I said, my sister's sick, and I go up to the office to make these phone calls. He goes, He says, I have a phone in my dressing room, come. So we went to his trailer, and he says, call your sister. And he was married to Maria at the time, so he had a government phone and satellite hookup. And so I called Wendy, I called my sister, and I said, hi, Wendy. She goes, oh, this sounds different, it's so much clearer. And I said, yeah. I said, I'm in the trailer with Arnold Schwarzenegger. She says, are you really? And she says, prove it. So I handed the phone over, and he goes, Wendy, you gotta look after yourself, you gotta take vitamins, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And he goes, oh, she wants to speak to you. And I get back on the phone with my sister, and I said, what? She goes, who the fuck is that? I said, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. She goes, put him back on. So they talked for half an hour, and he was telling her all the different health things, and what was the doctor's report and everything like that. And afterwards I got to say, good night, I'll see you, like, bye, and everything like that. And I said, thank you. The cool thing I found out when the film was over, I got emotional. He called my sister every lunch hour for 2 weeks. He called her every lunch hour, but didn't tell me, didn't tell anybody. He called Wendy. How you doing, Wendy? Are you looking after yourself? That's who Arnold is.
It's sweet.
Sweet person.
He's a special person.
Yeah.
You know?
It feels